Hi, Mike here with Dawg TV Adventures, and this is the next part of the backpacking series. I wanted to go over a few more items that you take backpacking, and one of the items that is critical that I want to mention is water purification. So there's lots of ways to purify water. Boiling it is the most obvious and is the easiest to do in the event that you break your equipment that purifies water or what have you. Fire always works. Start a fire, as long as you have a pot or something to boil the water in, you're good to go. So one of the reasons we bought titanium mugs, or 21-ounce mugs that we take, is that even when we're not backpacking, if we go for a day hike, I throw it into my day pack, and in the event that I get stuck overnight, something goes wrong, I can melt snow in it, I can boil water and purify it right there in the mug, and then I can drink the water even if I didn't bring my water purifier with me. So let's talk a little bit about water filtration ideas. There's lots of different types of filters out there. There's little steri pens, there's this, there's that, there's all kinds of things, and depending on how much weight you want to carry and what you want to do with it, there's different ways of purifying water. You can even bring iodine capsules, which taste disgusting, and you end up with iodine in your diet. But there's lots of ways to make water safe to drink, and so if you're looking for water purifiers, one of the things that I would suggest is there are filters and there are purifiers. A filter will remove things like cryptosporidium and giardia, and they also have carbon filter elements in them, so they'll tend to remove some sort of some types of pesticides, some types of herbicides and stuff like that that might be in the water. And so that's what they'll remove. And a purifier is a little bit different. It has a finer mesh system, and it'll actually remove bacteria, which are much, much smaller than the large organisms like giardia. And so a purifier, like the kind I have, will remove bacteria and viruses. So filter will remove giardia and certain chemicals. A purifier will remove giardia, crypto, bacteria, viruses, and various types of chemicals. So when you're going out and looking at different filtration devices, and you look at a filter and you look at a purifier, the cost of a filter and the cost of a purifier are the same. All right? Same. Filter, purifier. So trying to make a point here. If you're going out and you're looking at a device with a little pump on it that weighs about X and is about this big or this big, depending on how it's shaped, and one item is about the same shape and works about the same, is about the same weight, and costs about the same, and it removes 2 things, and the other one removes 4 things, which one are you going to buy? If I see you out in the wilderness and you bought yourself a little pump filter, I'm going to laugh at you. So one of the things I've always said to people is when you're out pumping water out of some stream, usually because of the brush that grows around streams due to the water, you can only see maybe 10 yards, sometimes 20 yards at the most, but a lot of times you can't see that far into the brush. And so I always ask people, when you're sitting there pumping and you can see 10 yards, what if 11 yards out there's a big deer, it died, fell right into the stream, and it's rotting, and it's all that bacteria and crap is just flowing down into the water you're pumping? How do you not know that? Are you going to walk 11 yards up to check? What if you walk up 11 yards and actually 11 yards from there is the dead deer? Where does it end? So you got something that weighs the same and costs the same, and it will remove bacteria. Viruses in the United States are really not a big issue. If you're traveling international, a purifier is going to save you in that department too if there's some nasty viruses in the area that you're hiking. But in the United States, really it's bacteria that's going to be your biggest threat, and a purifier will remove it, costs the same, weighs the same, filter won't. So you decide on which one you want to get, and be prepared for some ribbing if I see you out there. Alright, so enough about water purification. There's lots of different ways to do it, lots of good books on purifying water as far as boiling and chemicals using iodine and other chemicals to purify, so you can look that up yourself. Let's talk a little bit about clothing. So when you go backpacking, you need to have appropriate clothing. And one of the things that you'll hear in outdoor circles is cotton kills. So if you can remember that, you're way ahead of the game. Cotton kills. So when you're wearing a cotton shirt like this, cotton kills. Cotton t-shirt, cotton kills. Okay? So you don't wear cotton when you go backpacking. This is a synthetic backpacking shirt that I bought specifically for backpacking trips. It is relatively thin and comfortable, dries quickly. I can launder it and it'll dry in about an hour or less in the sun, as long as it's not miserable conditions out or something. I usually only bring 2 of these, the one I'm wearing and 1 extra one. And the reason is even on a 9-day trip, when I get in there, as soon as this gets dirty and stinky, I take a shower, I launder it, and I'm wearing my other one. And as soon as I've been wearing that other one for an hour, this one's dry and goes back into my backpack as a clean shirt. So synthetic is very important. 1, when synthetic gets wet, it doesn't make you colder, which is what cotton's going to do. And 2, you can launder it and it'll dry quickly. A cotton shirt may take all day to dry and you may not have all day. So don't bring cotton clothing items. This is a synthetic sweatshirt, and it's kind of fuzzy. You probably can't see, but it's thick and fuzzy, and it's just thick enough that mosquitoes can't get through it. So not only will it keep you warm, but if you're in a mosquito area and it's not cold and you just don't want to be bitten up, you don't want to get DEET all over yourself, you just throw this on and the mosquitoes aren't going to be able to get through it. Put a head net over your head and that's it. You're good to go. You're not going to have to worry about skeeters. So it's a relatively warm. It launders and dries quickly because it's synthetic. It's made out of recycled milk bottles. So if you ever wonder what they do with milk bottles when they recycle them, this is one of the things. It's a very comfortable, soft shirt. And so that'll cover you on the shirt. I also have a synthetic beanie. So when I'm sleeping overnight in it, or if it's cold out, I put my synthetic beanie on. It also dries quickly. These are, get this, synthetic pants. Don't wear jeans, don't wear cotton. Why? Because, that's right, cotton kills. So these are zip-off pants, so they can become shorts, and you can just zip off the legs right there. And if you're going to ford a river or something, and you don't want to have the bottom of your legs wet, or if it just gets hot, you can zip them off. Even if you do ford a river and it gets wet up to here, and if you walk around for even half hour, 45 minutes, this part will be completely dry because it's synthetic. And again, if they get dirty and stinky, you can launder them, and they'll be dry in about an hour, and you can get back into them or put them in to your pack for clean stuff. Normally, I carry 1 pair of spare pants so I can launder one and wear the other one. 1 spare shirt so I can launder one and wear the other one. Now in the winter there's other considerations. If we're going in the spring and fall, usually that's what I'm doing. If we're going very late fall or early winter, sometimes I have an extra piece of clothing because it's not uncommon for something to go wrong and get wet and you want another thing to get into. And then socks. Socks, again, synthetic socks. So these are synthetic backpacking socks. They dry relatively quickly. When they get dirty, I wash them, put them out on a tree to dry, and then they go back in my pack. Normally, I carry a couple of pairs of socks, spares, as well as the one I'm wearing, so I usually have 3 pairs of socks with me. And just because socks are more likely to get wet, and if you get a couple of pairs wet the same day, you can get into a dry pair while you're waiting for them to dry. So there, like I said, different considerations for different times of the year, different climates, depending on where you're hiking, but usually you can get away with a limited amount under a long trip. And so we take showers or go into a lake or something to get cleaned up on a regular basis. I think it's just gross for these people, and I run into them who go out for a week-long trip and they don't shower. When you meet them on the trail, you can barely stand being close to them while they're telling you about all the exciting places they've been. For God's sake, get cleaned up. There's no reason to be filthy when you're out in the wilderness. It doesn't take that long to get cleaned up. Bring yourself a backpacking towel, which we have. You can get them at lots of outdoor stores. They're made out of recycled milk cartons. They're synthetic. So and they dry quickly. They work great. And once you dry yourself off, they'll dry in about an hour, and you can stuff them back in your pack. So a little soap, you can get cleaned up and showered in no time, and then get into a clean pair of clothes. So that kind of covers the clothing items and the waterproof purification. And in the next segment, we'll go on to some other areas you should be concerned with when backpacking. So until next time, stay frosty.